Mar-a-Lago. Been quite a day for the president. Tonight, he vowed never again, reluctantly signing a $1.3 trillion budget bill. Watch this.
There are a lot of things that I'm unhappy about in this bill. But I say to Congress, I will never sign another bill like this again. I'm not going to do it again. Nobody read it. It's only hours old. Some people don't even know what it is. $1.3 trillion. It's the second largest ever.
Nobody read it. Don't you love that part? But a number of Republicans are questioning exactly what the GOP got out of this deal and whether Mr. Trump, as some have said today, got rolled by the Democrats.
This is Ann Coulter reacting, Jennifer. She tweeted out, "Congratulations, President Schumer," essentially saying that the president got played here. "I will never sign another bill like this again." She's quoting from the president. "Yeah, because you'll be impeached."
This president promised to drain the swamp. He's a jobs program for the swamp. He says he's going to drain the swamp, but he's the best thing that's ever happened to the swamp.
The Democrats really got most of what they wanted in this bill. Democrats weren't necessarily opposed to more defense spending. They just didn't want to give defense spending until they got a lot on domestic spending, and they got most of what they wanted.
They sure did. Joining me now, Corey Lewandowski, former Trump campaign manager and chief strategist at America First Action. Corey, good to see you tonight. President's getting a lot of criticism on this from his base and from his supporters who believe that basically the Democrats did get everything they wanted in this very fat bill and that there's no fiscal responsibility happening on his watch at this point.
You know, what the president said today when he signed that bill was he was very disappointed in what the bill had in total. But there were some key components of this legislation that are important. And let me just highlight a few of them. $650 billion for the military. That will allow our men and women in uniform to get the first pay raise they've had, the largest pay raise they've had in over a decade. You know, we're talking about 24 new Navy ships. We're at the smallest Navy we've had in a lifetime. We're talking about 90 new aircrafts, new F-35s. We're talking about opportunities to rebuild our military so we can continue to be the world's greatest superpower. But in addition to the military, this bill funded $6 billion to fight the devastating opiate crisis, which is wreaking havoc across our country. We need to get this under control. Is this a perfect bill? Absolutely not. Did the president say it was a bill for national security? It is a bill for national security.
No,
but I'm very concerned about the amount of spending here. I don't like this spending.
Because as you know, last night he sort of stunned, I think, a lot of people at the White House by coming out and saying he was going to veto the bill. Then this morning there was this whole scramble. He's going to do a news conference. Then he wasn't going to do a news conference. Then they moved the reporters from the press room over to the diplomatic receiving room. And he gave, a straightforward speech. I think that there's a feeling that he didn't do what he wanted to do here initially. His gut was telling him that he should veto this bill. He had a lot of his supporters who wanted him to do that. So the question tonight is what happened?
I think you might be right. I think his gut was telling him that this was a bad piece of legislation. Many of the things that are in this bill, he campaigned against. And what we've seen once again, it's amazing. You know what Congress did? They went home again. The government's about to shut down. They put one piece of legislation from the president. They say, we put a gun to your head. You're going to sign this or we're going to close the government. It's going to be your fault. Why haven't we been able to keep the government open for a multi-year period? This is astonishing to me.
Yeah, but Corey, what about those people who say you've got Republicans in the House, Republicans in the Senate, Republicans in the White House? We thought this was going to be a fiscally responsible White House and administration, and they're wondering what the heck is happening.
Well, look, I don't disagree with you. I think 85 or 86 members of the Republican Party voted against this bill, and they get a pass with 111 Democrats voting for it because the Democrats do what the Democrats do. They know how to spend money. Look, the next generation, our kids, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren are saddled now with potentially $22 trillion in debt. It's unsustainable. This can never happen again.
Well, that's what the president said, and I thought, I think a lot of people thought he hit it on the head when he looked at that thing and said, they just finished this bill hours ago. Nobody's read it, and we're at the deadline. And this is the way we do things. I think people look at that across the country and say, are you kidding me? That, this is such an inefficient way to do things. Corey, as you're talking, we're watching the president walk down the steps of Air Force One. Looks like a beautiful night in Palm Beach as he begins this weekend. So you have a good weekend, too. Okay? Thanks for being here.
Thank you. You too.
All right, thank you. So one group that was